20,000 energy, 31 days? Let's show the numbers. Yo, what's up everyone? Kyrios here, and today we're going to go over the flower shop. This is a little overdue. Sorry, I've been a little under the weather and there's been a lot of events going on. But we did the math, and the math does not check out. It checks out a little bit if you're an endgame player and you have all the characters and a little bit like that. And we'll go into detail with that. So this video is going to focus first on the priority of items you should get. So we're going to go over the different shops real quick. And then we're going to go into a deep dive on if a new player, a mid-game player, and even a late-game player can buy everything. And what I mean by everything, I mean all the shops and all the event points. It's statistically very hard to do. Very hard to do. But make sure you subscribe, like, all that goodness. And hopefully I am wrong. I'll be honest. I hope this video is wrong. But let's check it out. I'll see you in there. All right, let's talk shop. So on the left-hand side or in the event shop, you will have 4 different currencies that you can acquire. Now, going in order, and you can grab these currencies from missions that correspond with the event. So whether it's missions 1 or 4, 2 or 5, or 3 or 6. By the way, the higher tier missions do give more materials than the lower tier missions. So going back into shop priority, your priority is always going to be the elephs. So there's going to be an elf in each tab besides the last tab. Your priority is going to be to buy those first. Those are very important. After that, this currency right here, the top currency, you're going to ignore it. It's probably the worst out of the 3. So we're going to label this one as being the lowest priority. So go ahead and skip missions 1 and 4 when farming the event currency so you can move on to the other 2. Shop number 2, pretty good, right? Lots of skill books, lots of skill up materials and stuff like that. Some more elephs for Pina. And can't go wrong with this one. Highly suggest that you farm the currency for this one as a priority. Now that brings us to currency number 3, which once again, focus on the elephs and get everything here, guys. The second currency and the third currency are just so good. It's so good. You guys are going to have to focus that. Now, if we move on to currency number 4, you're going to see it's just money. You're essentially going to get this pretty passively, right? Because you can get this currency from every mission you farm for the other 3. And you're going to get these as you're trying to get those event progression going. So don't worry too much about this. And it's just going to be a little extra bonus for you at the end. Make sure you go back into the missions with your optimized team with the most event effect on as possible. Sweeps are a snapshot in time. So if you go in with a team that doesn't have all of the students that you need to get the maximum points, you need to go back in and at least do the mission once to save that snapshot. All right, guys, this next part is going to get really in the weeds of some math, so go grab yourself a cup of joe. Let's get into it. I'm going to try and break it down with as simple as I can and beautify it a bit. But just stay with me. Very important. If you're trying to get everything from this event and from all the shops, you have to know these numbers. And quickly, real quick, just to make sure that we're all on the same page, all of these numbers I'm about to present are before bonuses or before one-time bonuses. We will show the bonuses at the end on how you can save a bunch of energy, but these are overall in case you don't have the students or anything like that. All right, so we're going to speed run through these. So these are the general event numbers. For shops 1, 2, and 3, these are the totals you're going to need in order to clear that shop. Then you have 10,000 event points. So if we break that down based on the amount of points you get and the amount of items you get per mission, per energy spent, these are the numbers you get down below for missions 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. Now let's break those down even further. All right, cool. So now that we have those numbers, we can break it down by low tier and high tier. Low tier being on the left, high tier being on the right. So as we go through these numbers, right, these are the energy you need to complete each mission to get enough of the resource to buy out the shop. Now, please note that if you do all 3 of the shops, you still will not have enough event points to finish the event shop. So there's going to be an additional delta of additional missions you have to run to get all of those items. All right, so as you can see below, you can see the energy required for the left side low tier and right side high tier energy needed to complete this event. Now we're going to break those numbers down even further. So let's get into another slide. All right, well, let's break down the energy, right? So how many days is that going to require you as a new player, mid-game player, and a late-game player before bonuses, right? Before bonuses. So we got to break down some numbers. We took some luxuries here, but these are the general constant numbers that you can get. 240 daily energy, 90 from PvP shop, assuming how far you are in PvP, and a few others as well. And then the cafe level. So we generalize that into 3 buckets. Now, if we break down these equations, we can then apply these to a new player, mid-game player, and late-game player. The new game player is going to have less energy, right? Cafe's low level, right? You're not going to be able to really get those PvP bottles, but you should be able to get your constant energy and logins and all that other goodness. Then you have the mid-game player that has a better cafe, maybe can do half of the PvP bottles. And then you have the late-game player who could do essentially everything. Now there are some energy here and there, right? Your weekly bonuses, a few other bonuses as well, but we didn't calculate those because those aren't consistent, right? Or they're not consistent enough daily that it would skew the numbers up or down enough to matter. So now that we know this, we can plug these numbers back into how many days it would take as a new game, mid game player, and late game player to finish this before having student bonuses. All those numbers back together, days to complete. As you can see at the top, you have the 20,000 again. You have the bottom, you have the 16,000, whether you're low tier or high tier. And energy to complete divided by the energy averages of new player, mid-game player, late-game player. As you can see, the numbers just, they don't add up. This is before bonuses. So if we take this before any sort of bonus, it's impossible. It's nearly impossible, right? On the top, new game players, 31 days. On 23 days, 20 days. At the bottom, with higher efficiency, 18 days, 16 days. Yikes. Very, very yikes. Let's plug in those bonuses, but because you're right? You're probably going to have some of these characters, right, that are for this event. Now, you may not have Izuna and Shizuko. Sorry, guys. So I'm going to show you the essentially the low end and the high end. You guys can calculate in between. So I'm going to show you the max bonus and no bonus because that's the easiest way to get this point across. Okay, so here we go. So at the top, we have that low tier player, right? We have the missions broken down by how much energy you need. And now we're going to apply those max bonuses. So if we apply those, you can essentially divide by 2 or divide by 1.5 or divide by 1.8, depending on the bonus tier for each one. And you can calculate the amount of energy overall divided by the staple we created, right, for the amount of energy a low end, mid game, or top end player gets a day. And that'll calculate the days out. So a low tier player doing the worst missions, missions 1, 2, and 3, and then getting all 10,000 points on top of this. So this is to clear everything. It's going to require 17 days with having all of the characters. All of them. Now at the bottom, it's going to show how many days it's going to take for you to have, if you have all the characters as an end game player with all those deltas applied. Now, there's one thing I'd like to point out. You do get a little bit of bonuses here and there for doing like first time missions or doing the story and stuff like that, but it's not enough to really change the dynamic of these numbers. Maybe a day, like plus or minus a day, but this is essentially giving you a grasp. The devs did this correctly. They thought about this and they said, hey, you have 14 days and we really want you to get these new characters. So if you use all these new characters, it's going to take you roughly 9 days. If you don't have the new characters, you might be able to squeeze it in 14, 15 with our previous numbers, but it's going to be a very hard thing to do. So I hope that cleared some things up, guys. I know if you have any questions about the numbers, please hit me up. Please also note that they could be off, anywhere between 1 to 5%. But, even if it's off by 10%, that would only shift it a day, and that's nothing. That's almost nothing. So, anyways, guys, this essentially means go use all your energy all the time in this event now, right now. Get into the event. Spend it all. Do it. Do it right now. I'll see you guys in the next video.